Welcome back, everybody. Again, we're continuing with the story of redemption, okay? And we're on the last chapter on page 22, okay, in the second paragraph. Okay, let's finish. Now, there's some review that I want to do in chapters 1 and 2 of Genesis that we just finished reading. So after we read this paragraph, we'll talk about those review items, okay, that I thought was important for us to go over. All right. Let's finish the second paragraph. Adam and Eve were charmed with the beauties of their Eden home. They were delighted with the little songsters around them, wearing their bright yet graceful plumage and warbling forth their happy, cheerful music. The holy pair united with them and raised their voices in harmonious songs of love, praise, and adoration to the Father and his dear Son for the tokens of love which surrounded them. They recognized the order and harmony of creation, which spoke of wisdom and knowledge that were infinite. Some new beauty and additional glory of their Eden home they were continually discovering, which filled their hearts with the deeper love and brought from their lips expressions of gratitude and reverence to their Creator. And I just want to add here too that we need to take time out of our busy schedule so that we can appreciate God's creation also and thank Him so much for everything that He has done to prepare for our lives and take care of us each day, every minute, every moment of our lives. And ask Him to help us to appreciate His creation more and thus appreciate Him more for everything that He does for us, beginning with waking us up in the morning and keeping us safe in the evening. Now, some of the things that I want to review, okay, that we talked about in Genesis chapters 1 and 2 are the creation of rest. Okay, we read in chapter 1 where on the seventh day God rested. Okay, so He created rest when He did that. Rest has not always been. He created rest. Okay, the creation of man and woman. We're going to talk about that more in depth. The test of obedience that God gave Adam and Eve. Okay, in the garden, and the dominion that He gave man in the form of naming the animals and of His dominion over all the earth. Okay, that God gave him, and He is still given him today, even though we have abused it quite a bit. Okay? All right, now, as I mentioned before, what we're getting ready to do is we're going to go into Patriarchs and Prophets, okay, which is one of the other books that Mrs. White has written, and we're going to go into chapter 2 called The Creation, okay? And she says here that this chapter is based on Genesis 1 and 2. Okay, so you can go online also and read along with me. Okay, go to the E.G. White Estates excuse me, online, and you can download Patriarchs and Prophets and follow along with me as I read the creation story here. Okay, all right, we're in the first paragraph. By the word of the Lord were the heavens made, and all the hosts of them by the breath of His mouth. For He spake, and it was. He commanded, and it stood fast. Psalm 33, verses 6 and 9. He laid the foundations of the earth, that it should not be removed forever. Psalm 104, verse 5. Now as the earth came forth from the hand of its Maker, it was exceedingly beautiful. Its surface was diversified with mountains, hills, and plains, interspersed with noble rivers and lovely lakes. But the hills and mountains were not abrupt and ragged, abounding in terrific steeps and frightening chasms as they are now. The sharp, ragged edges of earth's rocky frame were buried beneath the fruitful soil, which everywhere produced a luxuriant growth of verdure. There were no loathsome swamps or barren deserts. Graceful shrubs and delicate flowers greeted the eye at every turn. The heights were crowned with trees more majestic than any that now exist. The heights were crowned with trees more majestic than any that now exist, and the air, untainted by foul miasma, was clear and beautiful and healthful. The entire landscape outvied in beauty the decorated grounds of the proudest palace. The angelic host viewed the scene with delight and rejoiced at the wonderful works of God. After the earth, with its teeming animal and vegetable life, had been called into existence, man, the crowning work of the Creator and the one for whom the beautiful earth had been fitted up, was brought upon the stage of action. To him was given dominion over all that his eye could behold. For God said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let him have dominion over all the earth." So God created man in his own image. Male and female created he them. Now here is clearly set forth the origin of the human race. And the divine record is so plainly stated that there is no occasion for erroneous conclusions. God created man in his own image. Here is no mystery. There's no ground for the supposition that man was evolved by slow degrees of development from the lower forms of animal or vegetable life. Such teachings lowers the great work of the Creator to the level of man's narrow earthly conceptions. Men are so intent upon excluding God from the sovereignty of the universe that they degrade man and defraud him of the dignity of his origin. He who set the starry worlds on high and tinted with delicate skill the flowers of the field, who filled the earth and the heavens with the wonders of his power. When he came to crown his glorious work, to place one in the midst to stand as ruler of the fair earth, did not fail to create a being worthy of the hand that gave him life. The genealogy of our race is given by inspiration. As given by inspiration, traces back its origin not to a line of developing germs, mollusks, and quadrupeds, but to the great Creator. Though formed from the dust, Adam was the Son of God. He was placed as God's representative over the lower orders of being. They cannot understand or acknowledge the sovereignty of God, yet they were made capable of loving and serving man. Okay? And two examples of that would be our pets, our cats and our dogs. Okay? They are capable of loving us, and they do show us love. Okay? Those of us who have pets, if we have horses, they serve us. We can ride them. We can use them for in agriculture, okay, and cultivating our land. They love us. If we show love to them, they show love to us. And we have to remember, we will be held accountable, okay, if we do not take care of those animals that are in our care. We must care for them as God cares for us, okay? Now, again, they cannot understand or acknowledge the sovereignty of God, yet they were made capable of loving and serving man. The psalmist says, "Thou madest him to have dominion over the works of thy hands. Thou hast put all things under his feet, the beasts of the field, the fowl of the air, and whatsoever passes through the paths of the seas." Psalms 8, verses 6 to 8. Man was to bear God's image, both in outward resemblance and in character. Christ alone is the express image, Hebrews 1, verse 3, of the Father, but man was formed to be in the likeness of God. And we'll be right back.